These are all books that I have recently DNF'd. Now, when I say DNF, I mean that in the loosest terms possible. The main reason why I put most of these books down is actually because I have been in a bit of a reading slump, and after reading literally maybe like a couple pages out of some of them, I just could not do it. I don't know what it was, but I just could not continue reading these. So these are all of the books that I'm currently in the middle of slash that I DNF'd, which is obviously a good bit. I have no excuses except for I was in a reading slump. If you've ever been in a reading slump, you know. There are a few of these that like I know that I love the series and I do want to read them eventually, and then there's one or two that I just can't see myself reading. Like I just genuinely do not know if I will ever be able to pick these up again. And I'll give you a hint. And this week we are going to focus on these books because I think I'm out of my reading slump. I want to read. I want to get through some of the books that I've already started. That way this doesn't just continue to grow. So that's what we're doing this week. I have no idea what I'm going to pick out first. Well, actually I kind of do. The first book that I think I'm going to pick from this stack is actually going to be this one. Let me see if I can do this without it tumbling over. There we go. Anyways, the first book that we're picking up is Zodiac Academy: The Reckoning by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. I am this much through, can you see? So I'm on chapter 9, which is page 138. So I love this series. I've talked about it in multiple videos now. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I just think that I kind of read them too close together, and so it was a little bit much. It was like when you binge watch a TV show and you just get tired of it even if you love the show because you've just seen these characters, heard their story for way too long, and that's what it feels like. Even though this is only the third book, that's just how it kind of feels because they are all pretty chunky books. But I am excited to read this story, get back into this world, and so this is what we're first going to start off with. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later when I'm a good chunk through it. So I'm about to settle down for the night and continue reading some of this book, but I'm about halfway through now, so I wanted to talk to you guys about it. I did read a good chunk while at work. This book is the third in a series. The entire series follows Darcy and Tori Vega. They are twins who grew up their life in the foster system as mortals. Turns out when they turn 18, they find out that they are fae, and they are next in line to the throne of this fae world. But in order to get that, they first have to go to Zodiac Academy, learn how to use their powers, master it, and at the same time they have these 4 heirs that are trying to take the throne from them, and therefore they're going to bully the girls, try to get them to quit on their own so that they can have the throne. And in this book they have what is called the Reckoning, which is like the ultimate test to see if you can stay at the academy and master your powers even further. So they're doing like these little trials, and all of them are like fire, earth, air, and water trials, and they have to compete in all 4 because they hold all 4 elemental magics. And at the same time there is something that is called the lunar eclipse, which makes them act like crazy. The moon just controls their emotions and everything like that. But it's a little ridiculous because it's basically just making everyone, like the moon is making people hook up. I will say this whole series, the first book I think there's like maybe 1 smut scene, and then it gets a little bit smuttier as it goes, and that is a huge topic in it, but there's also just a lot more. Like there's bad guys that are involved, there is a nymph that is running around killing people and draining them of their powers. Like there's a lot going on. I am liking the characters a lot more in this story. I feel like you kind of get to know them a little bit better. The bullying, I'm not gonna lie, the bullying in the first book was a little bit like too much, but now it just feels more like silly little pranks that the girls are pulling on the guys. It doesn't feel like a super deep bullying. Or the way I can put it is that like I could forgive these men if they bullied me, which sounds awful, but I think that it is stuff that could be forgiven. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's your personal preference, but the bullying isn't like too much for me. I don't typically love bully romances, but in this one, it's not bad, so that's why I can kind of stand it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it just as much as I enjoyed the other books, but I'm going to lay in bed and continue reading tonight, and then I will update you guys probably when I'm finished with the book. That way this video isn't outrageously long. Okay, so I didn't vlog me reading at all today because I just continued to read Zodiac Academy, The Reckoning, and because there wasn't much to update you guys on, I was just continuing and finished the book today at work, and this was just as good as the rest of the series. Absolutely love the series. I'm going to give this one probably a 3.75 just because, like I said, the lunar eclipse thing, I just couldn't get past that. I don't know. It was just kind of a weird plot point that was going on in the story. Plus, the whole nymph thing kind of took a back seat and there's just so much going on, but at the same time I did like the little trials that they had to do for the reckoning. I also liked that we can see two characters, their relationship kind of developing a little bit more, and then another character's relationship furthering even more, and I'm just like rooting for both of these couples. I love the couples. I think they're great together, but I am not going to say the trope because I do feel like that can kind of spoil what's going on in a story, just the tropes. Like, I want to go into books blind and I want you guys to as well. I know I said it's a bully romance, but both of the relationships have different tropes and I don't want to spoil that. So there is that. Also, if you've read this series, can we talk about Geraldine? Like, come on, I think she's hilarious. If you haven't read it, Geraldine is one of those characters where she just has all of these like funny sayings. Like, I wonder if I could just find one. Probably not. Okay, no, that would just take too long. But anyways, yeah, love Geraldine, and I just love all of the characters in this series. I don't know, there's just something about it where it's very comforting when I read it. So yeah, but I'm gonna stop talking about that now because I feel like I've just been talking about it for so many of my past videos. And also today I did start another book, and that is Sign Here. I kept the bookmark in there so that I knew originally how far along I was before I put it down, and I was only 78 pages in, and then I read for a little bit at work today and I wrote it down in my notes. Okay, I only made it to page 95 according to my notes. So where is that? So yeah, I made it just a little bit further along. And in this story, I really don't know what genre you would call this so far, but we're following kind of a good few people. So I'm gonna try to explain it the best that I can. We have peyote, I think is how you say it, who I don't know if they're considered demons or if they're just like in hell, but he is in hell, and the way hell is set up is kind of like an office setting. So they have like different levels and everyone on different levels does different jobs, and he is in the department where he tries to make deals for people's souls. And so we're seeing peyote. We're also seeing like a coworker of his, but we're not getting her point of view. Like, it's in peyote's, but I feel like this coworker is going to have some kind of importance to the story. And at the same time, we are following three other characters. They are the Harrisons. So we have, is it Lily? Oh my goodness, how am I forgetting their names? And one is Mickey, one is Silas, and the other is Lily. Yeah. So Lily is the mom, Silas is the dad, and Mickey is the daughter. We can see that Silas and Lily are having some relationship issues. It is also alluding to the fact that there is something tragic that happened in their past, but in this story they are at like their family lake home with their children. Their daughter, Mickey, we are getting her point of view as well. They do have a son, but we don't get his point of view. He's not really an important character. But Mickey has brought along her new friend, Ruth, to this lake house with them, and I'm getting some weird vibes from Ruth. I don't know what her story is or what's going to happen with her and Mickey, but their friendship seems a little suspicious. So that's what's going on. I really don't know what the plot is possibly going to be or anything like that. I'm just gonna have to keep reading and see. But for 100 pages in, it's a little slow. I now understand why I put it down because I don't know, it's just eh, you know? But yeah, we're gonna keep reading tonight and see what happens. Oh my goodness, hey, we're in bed again. What can I say? It's my favorite spot to be. But I wanted to update you guys because I did finish my book, Sign Here. This book actually had a few different like plot twists towards the end that I was not expecting. I still don't know what genre this would be considered whatsoever. I'm going to just put it as like mystery slash thriller because the whole time well, you don't really know that there's a mystery going on, but you kind of figure out at the end that there is one. I really don't know. But this ended on a good note. I'm gonna have to give this one, I would say probably like a 3.75 because it was good and interesting and there was a lot of drama going on and the end really got me. I wasn't expecting that, but there were parts where it was a little slow, a little boring, and you kind of have to pay really close attention because if not, you're gonna be confused when reading this, but it still wasn't bad. See, on the front it says darkly comic. I just don't think anything was really funny. Do with that what you will. That's just my opinions on it. But I am starting a new book. Well, finishing a book that I've already started. You guys know, you've been here this long throughout the video, you know what we're doing. But I'm going to pick back up Butcher and Blackbird. The reason why I DNF'd this one is because I was actually listening to the audiobook because I heard that that was really good. And I don't want to offend anybody. The man has, I think, a Scottish or an Irish accent. I know they're different people. Please don't hate me. Anyways, he has a Scottish accent, and when you're listening to the audiobook, yeah, I love that they included that. Like, it's super realistic. It helps you understand the characters better. But I cannot listen to accents. I don't know what it is, but when someone has a heavy accent, I cannot understand what they're saying, even when they're speaking English. I don't want to offend anyone, it's just me. I'm just dumb. I even have to watch Love Island with subtitles on. That's why I DNF'd it, and because I thought it was just going to be kind of a dark romance and I wasn't really in the mood at the time, so we're picking it back up because I loved the Mind F series and I heard that this is very similar. It is about two serial killers, Rowan and Sloane, and they are serial killers that kill other serial killers, and then somehow they end up meeting up. And where I got to in the book, they have like a little yearly competition where they're kind of like trying to find and kill the same murderer at the same time, and whoever gets there first and does it wins this little competition. And I think that like they're gonna make it into a yearly thing, so it spans out through a long period of time. And yeah, I'm just going to pick it back up, try to get back into it, and we'll see where it goes from there. This book, you guys, I don't know. I think reading it was, for me personally, a better experience than listening to the audiobook, so I am glad that I finally like sat down and took the time to read it. It's about two serial killers who are kind of competing against one another in order to kill bad people, and that's really all that it is. And it's just them slowly realizing that they're in love with one another. And then there is smut in here, and I will say the smut scenes are extremely in-depth and pretty long. Like, I feel like there was like 3 whole chapters of just straight smut in here, so if you don't like that, you're not gonna love it. There are a little bit of like gruesome things that are happening because they are both serial killers, so if you don't like that, you're obviously not gonna like this book. But I had fun. I don't think that it really does compare to the Mind F series. That one was just a whole nother level, but it was still good. It was definitely more focused on the romance in this book than it was anything else, but I had fun. So I think, what did I rate this? Yeah, I rated it 4 stars just because it is like a fast-paced little fun smutty book. It's nothing out of this world, but I think it's fun. Yeah, did I already say that? That's all I have to say about that one, I guess. Now, we are moving on to, I think this is probably going to be the final book because this is going to take me a while to get through. Yeah, I'm actually terrified to read this book. I think it's because I haven't heard great things about it. I feel like people don't love it. It's just kind of there. People really like the first one, so they continued the series. And this, I've heard a lot of people say, is like their least favorite. And I already didn't absolutely love the first one, even though I realized today that it is like in my profile picture and everything, but that's just because I was wearing blue and it matched the blue. I don't love that book, so maybe I should pick something different, but that's besides the point. I literally put this down after reading one chapter. I can't tell you what it was. I think it was just one of those things where I wasn't in the mood for a romance. And the fact that this book is so thick, like, why do romances need to be this big? The only person who can make romances this big are Chloe Walsh and Mariana Zapata. There, I said it. Those are my thoughts on that. We're gonna continue reading it and see how it goes. So we need to have a quick little chat, okay? This is your PSA to stop listening to other people when it comes to books and form your own opinions, because I truly thought I was gonna hate this book because I've heard only like mediocre things about it, but I'm enjoying it so much and I really went into it with bad expectations. And I need to not do that because this is so much fun to me. So we are following Nash and Lena. If you've read the first book, something kind of happens to Nash at the end of that book, and now he's dealing with that. Lena is his new next door neighbor. She is definitely more of a I don't ever want to get married, I don't want to have a serious relationship kind of person, and Nash is a very serious, wants to settle down kind of relationship guy. So they are butting heads as well as with their whole entire friend group. So we have people from the other book that we're seeing. There are definitely small town vibes in here. And I will say things are moving a little bit fast, not smut wise because we haven't seen any smut in the book so far, but emotionally things are moving along super quick, which is a little bit weird and off-putting, but I'm still really enjoying it. I don't know. There is like, I guess you could say, a little bit of a mystery aspect to these books, like that continued from the first one. So there's a criminal and they're trying to find him, and that's like the mystery thing behind it. But that's kind of taking a back seat. We're mostly just seeing Nash and Lena's interactions with one another. And like I said, you're also getting other characters from the other books. And so it's kind of good to see all of it coming together in a way. And I also really like seeing the scenes where like the whole family is together, because I personally grew up in a small town and it is very much giving those vibes of the family that you choose, not the family that you're born into. Like I have so many aunts and uncles who aren't really my aunts and uncles. And I just, for some reason, like that. It feels very homey and like I'm having fun. I'm having a good time. I'm very pleasantly surprised, and I'm glad that I picked this book up. It is not disappointing me so far. I might have spoken a little bit too soon earlier, but I'm going to sit here and read for a little bit longer and try to finish this by the end of the day at work today. Hi, you guys. So it is actually Saturday morning now, and I finished Things That We Hide from the Light, or just Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score yesterday. And this, like I was saying, was just such a good surprise in my opinion. I did give it 4 stars, but I think it's like, yeah, I don't see, I hate writing books because I can tell you my opinions on them all day long and my thoughts and everything, but when it comes to trying to put a number on it, I don't know. Like, the scales are just so off to me, but if I had to, I would say it's, like, somewhere between a 3.75/4 star, just because I ran through it so fast. It was so much fun. There were a few parts that were a little bit slow, and like I mentioned, there is a kind of mystery that's going on in here. I wouldn't take that too seriously. Like, the criminal straight up reminds me of the the, um the one criminal from what's it called? That Frankie Muniz movie. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? That's who the criminal in these books remind me of. So, like, I can't really take that part of it serious. That's not what I'm reading it for, though. So if you're looking for, like, a mystery with romance in it, not your books, okay? These are more like romances with a little bit of mystery in them. But yeah, like I was saying yesterday, it's just the small town vibes were so fun to me. I enjoyed like the found family that they have in here. I also do really like Nash as a character, even though some of the things he did, if a man said that in real life, would be a little bit cringy. And yeah, I don't know. I would just say it's one of those series where you really have to form your own opinions because not everyone is going to like what's happening in this book. Those are my thoughts on this book. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's like a 3.75 to a 4 star for me. But they're still a little bit too long, okay? She could have probably taken like 200 pages out of this and I would have been just fine with that as well. So, but those are all the books that we're going to be reading. Let me know what you guys thought if you read any of these books. And that is it for this video. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day and I will see you in the next one. Bye!